don't know anything about Brenda, and I thought I knew everything about Brenda. So Brenda and I met through Lavelle, through Thrive, and we have worked side by side, chatted many, many of times. I've told my story on live for her, and yet today I was doing a flyer and I was like, I don't know anything about Brenda. I don't know her story. I don't know, like, I know that she's the stay-at-home mom. I know that she's a boss. I know that she's out of her comfort zone because her Instagram is so legit, but
Yeah.
I know nothing about Brenda. So we're all going to meet Brenda together. Brenda,
What's
why
up?
don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because obviously I don't know anything.
Okay. The current Brenda 2.0. I am about to be 30. I can't believe that I'm about to be 30. I have two little boys, Cole and Carter. Cole's gonna be 5. Carter's gonna be 2. He's a Halloween baby. Um, my husband, he's a first responder. He's a firefighter, and I live in Southwest Florida. And I mean, for the last since January, like just before COVID, like I've just been on this like 2.0 journey to really kind of do what like makes me happy. And I feel like with the whole everything happening with the pandemic was just that final like push to kind of be like, okay, like you might not even have a plan B if you thought a plan B was an option. So it really put things into perspective. So I'm really kind of like finding myself this season. And you know, that's me on this whole like self-love, self journey. Like, let's do it.
Okay. And so before you got on the self-love journey, what were you doing? Have you always been a stay-at-home mom? Are you new to the stay-at-home mom? Like, tell me what you were doing before and what brought you to this journey.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So I was that girl that you know, I love going to school. I would go to every single class in high school. My mom was a single mom. She really instilled in me like you had to like do things a certain way. I almost always lived in like fear of the alternative, like fear of like what my life could look like if I don't do the things. Like I was that person, like I could learn through people's like consequences. Like it didn't have to happen to me. I could see what it did to you and I just wasn't going to do it. So I was always the person, like I was always the youngest in my friends group, but I was always like doing my classwork. I was always working through high school. I ended up working through college. I ended up straight out of high school going to college to get my bachelor's in legal study. The whole plan was I was going to go be this paralegal attorney, whatever. That was the plan for me. Um, you know, I always had my own things. I actually like been living on my own since I was 17 years old and paying my own bills, again paying myself through college. I had my first like finance car, which was like my post today, when I was 18. So I've always really been self-motivated, and I was always that person where like you give me the map and I'm just gonna check off things on that to-do list. That carried on, you know, to my relationship with Ryan. We were dating. I graduated, we got married, we bought a house, we had a baby, you know, everything in that order. And so I thought, you know, my old boss, where I had worked at prior to working from home, I was in marketing and sales. I was this marketing assistant for a senior living. So I worked in assisted living, memory care, independent living, and it was a very prestigious one in my area. So like our clients had to have like a substantial amount of, you know, money and assets and cash flow. So it was very like professional. You had to look the part, you had to dress the part, you had to wear heels, you had to wear makeup, you had to be for these people. So, you know, everybody would tell me like, wow, look at your life, you're doing all these things, and you're the trajectory that I was on seemed to be like what society would say like is a successful one straight out of high school, college. Like I graduated when I was 24, got the job when I was 24, got pregnant when I was 25. So it was like bam, bam, bam. I had like those are like major life events, but I was just going through the motions of what I thought I had to do. Empty, empty, bored, not able to really be my true self because I had to be this professional. You spend more time. Yeah. You spend more time at work, so you're spending more time like being this puppet, and you think that's normal. And for most people, a lot of people, they enjoy that, but I wasn't enjoying it. So Thrive came into my life because I was friends with Bethany. Bethany, the boss, is my sponsor, my upline, my friend. I had Cole, which is my firstborn, and I told you guys my husband's a first responder, so he would work 24-hour shifts. If he took overtime, he was working 48-hour shifts. I was having to do the whole morning commute, wake up 2 hours at night, do the whole pumping because I couldn't get a latch. So I put a lot of like mommy pressure on me. And I couldn't keep up. I was so tired. I was so moody. I was so miserable. I didn't want to go on the weekends. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't cook. I didn't clean. I didn't like to do laundry. It was like a fight for me to do anything. Because I just didn't have the energy. Like when I came home, all I wanted to do was hold my baby. And I'll never forget, my mom was watching him at the time, and she thought she was helping me. She was like, "Oh, I gave Cole a bath for you." And I got so upset. I got mad at her. I was like, that's literally the only time I have in my whole Monday through Friday where I could put my phone down and play with my baby. Because it was, you get home, you unload the baby bag, you do dinner, you get everything ready for tomorrow, and repeat. And half the time I was doing it by myself, even though I was married.
I can relate.
Yeah, with Tommy being a trucker and being
He was a
away.
truck driver. He was going all the time, and it's like you're married, but you're a single mom. Like you have a spouse, but they're out and they're providing, so you can't be mad, but at the same time it's frustrating because you're like a single mom. And so I know people always see me and Tommy and they're like, oh, you have Tommy, you have help. Back when my kids were little, I mean, they're older now, but that was a rough time for me too. Like I was alone all the time, and so I had them by myself all the time, and people don't understand that, so I can totally relate to that. It's a lonely place.
It really is. And you feel almost bad complaining about it because you do have like your real single mom friends. And it's like, and to everybody, he's this perfect husband. We're living this perfect life. So I just felt like I couldn't like really complain about it. And then I saw how ignorant of me. I saw my friend Bethany, who didn't go to college. She had kids. She hadn't been like married yet. And she was making more money than I was with this stuff called Thrive. And when I saw her, I'll never forget, it'd been like months, maybe even years that I hung out with her. And I looked at her, I was like, her hair is so full and beautiful, and she's glowing, and she's got a 6-pack, and she's got a nail salon. And at the time she had a gym, and she's doing this business called Thrive, and her and Mark just came from Canada. And I'm like, and you make how much? And I'm over here like barely surviving. And that was when I literally was like, okay, I need to try it.
I know. And so it's so funny because totally opposite, I didn't have anybody to watch Thrive. Like I just tried the product and immediately fell in love with it. So mine was totally opposite, but I can just imagine like that feeling of everybody thinking you're living the American dream. You did all the things right. You followed the roadmap of what you were supposed to do. School life, work life, married, house, kids, like from the outside looking in, it's like, she's so lucky. It's almost like you were like what I hear people say called the Instagram mom, like the Instagram mom, the one who has it all. But it's a lonely place to be when your spouse is gone all the time and you are already running on empty when you get home and you can't enjoy those moments with your baby because you're just so tired. So that one thing, giving them a bath, was your time together, and that's you feel like you did something for him, and it's like, okay, I'm home and he's asleep. I did nothing for him and I'm his mom. So I get it. I totally get it. So once you said yes, because I know your journey, you're on this 2.0. Yes, I know, girl, both of us. We're like, but you know what? It's so funny because you're focusing on you now, right? You're focusing on you. And as moms, sometimes we feel bad putting ourselves first. So tell me how you got to the point where you decided, you know what, I need to put myself first. Because I hear that from moms all the time. Like, I put everybody before me and I put myself on the back burner. And they think that's how mom life is supposed to be. When really you can have them both. You can put yourself first and still put your children first too, and your family first too. So tell me, like, your journey to that, how you made that decision for yourself.
So, I've been using Thrive. This is probably like my 4th year that I've been actually consuming the products, and it's helped me through so many seasons in my life. So personally, I know the products are amazing. And so in the beginning, when I first bought my my 3 steps, my capsules, my shake, my DFT, I was taking it consistently. And I was just like, wow, like, this is amazing. And in my head, thinking like, I could do anything because I've achieved all these things. Like, yes, I'm going to promote this. But I was struggling with this perfect picture that I had to uphold. So even me trying to share it with people, when I started getting that no and that rejection, or them just not understanding what I'm talking about, or them just not even opening up and being real with themselves to like, okay, yeah, maybe that could help me. I just kept hitting a wall. And so I kept thinking like, well, I have my job to go back to. I have my business, my, salary I could go back to. I already have a car, whatever. I'll just go back to my job. So I was never like fully committed with it. And the more I kind of put in balance, like, I worked hard. I want to live a lifestyle to where I can be proud of and not be shameful of it, right? Because my goal was I was going to be like the top CEO of this company, this business, and we were going to live this lifestyle that we worked so hard for. So it was getting to a point where I was like, I have to sacrifice all this family time, and it was harder and harder for me to do it. It got harder and harder for me to do it. And then, I was that person at work that I was carrying the whole team. I was doing everybody's job. They didn't know how to do payroll. They didn't know how to do I was managing almost like $1 million advertising budget. And I'm like, I'm not the director. Like, I'm making the least amount of money and I'm doing all these things because I almost felt like my lifestyle depended on that paycheck, and like I wasn't going to find it anywhere else. So, and then having a taste of this business and seeing, the freedom that my friend has, seeing the freedom that all these other people have with the same products, it was like, it was always in the back of my head. And I needed to do the work in myself because I needed to really dive in and get down to what was holding me back from having the same success that they're having. And I'm still working on it, but I needed to dig down and like be honest with myself. Like, I could go to, okay, like, let's just talk regular work stuff. You could go to another job and think that you're going to crush it, but until you really, learn the system, learn the culture, and are willing to do the things in that community, then you're still going to be stuck. So I just thought I could, have that same success here without, really getting out of my comfort zone. And what I mean by that is really opening up as to what these products have really done for me. Nobody wants to, mom guilt. People think like that's not a real thing, but it is. And so my girlfriend, she just had a baby, and she's like, thank you so much for always posting about, mom guilt and stuff. She's like, it's because of you that I go get my nails done, even though it hurts me to leave my baby. And I'm like, yes, because when you're happy, they're happy. And this makes me happy. so I can make them happy. And so pre-COVID, that was kind of like a long answer, but pre-COVID, I'll never forget, I was Thrive 2.0, working my business, and I switched companies to make more money. And my son had a diaper rash. He had chronic diaper rash. How silly is this story? But my baby boy Carter, he had chronic diaper rash, and I forgot the diapers. And he was like an hour away at my mom's house. So I told my director at the time, I was like, I need to leave. I have a closing coming in, but I need to leave because my son's like, his butt is raw. And they were like, no, you have to close this sale. There was 4 other people in there that could have did it for me. And so because it's senior living, I didn't want to leave this 90-year-old guy. Can you believe that? I didn't want to leave this 90-year-old guy without any place to sleep that night. And I was at work till 7:30. I was supposed to get off at 4:30, and my baby didn't have any diapers. So I did my job. I was that good employee. I called my husband. He was at work. I said, I packed my car. He's like, what? I was like, I packed my car. He's like, it's okay, it's okay. And so I just kind of did it, and we just made things work, and we moved things around, and I kind of didn't give myself a plan B. You know, I said, I'm a woman. We've always been okay. I'm a good worker. I know I can learn. I know I can do things. I know I can stretch myself, and we're just going to make it work. And since almost been a year, we've been fine.
So that's not a silly story, because mom guilt is real both ways. I mean, I know exactly how you feel. I remember I had a job, and my boss told me that my job comes first over my family. And people get into this work life and they take these positions, and that's what's expected of them. It's like no excuses. Oh, you're sick, come in. Oh, your kid's sick, get a babysitter, you know. And that's supposed to be one of the questions they're not allowed to ask when you interview. Like, I know I've done interviews, you know, I hold interviews, and it's like, you're not allowed to ask if they have kids, and you're not allowed to ask if they have like a babysitter, but it's the one thing as a manager that you want to know, you know. And so you start this conversation with people, you know, hoping that they bring up their kids, and hoping that they bring up the fact that they have someone as backup, because no one in these companies and in these big businesses, they don't want replacements. They want you know, like, and so that is a big deal. And that is all the reason to pack up your car. So it's not a silly story at all. I remember the day Tommy called me, and he was like, he pulled over on the side of the road, and he was like, I'm quitting. I'm putting in my notice today. And I was like, okay. I mean, people don't realize you cannot pour from an empty cup, you know, and whether it's getting your nails done, getting your hair done, doing something for yourself that just puts that little bit of joy inside of you, you deserve it. You know, your kids deserve it too, but a lot of times we put ourselves on the back burner for things for our kids that they don't even really need. It's more of a want, and you feel fulfilled that you were able to do that for them. So I totally get that. I get that. And that's a perfect reason to become Brenda 2.0. And you are really killing it.
Trying to. I mean, and I was like, to your interview story, when I would go on job interviews, like I would take off my ring, and again, I would like totally like mask, and I would do test questions, and I'd be like, okay, they're probably going to try to figure out those things. And I mean, me and my girlfriends were like, we're going to crush it in the 9-to-5 corporate world. They're not going to know anything about us. We're just going to show up and be like, yeah, I got babies. But you know what? Having a family, you know, makes your drive so much harder. So, I mean, in this, I get joy helping my girls get those wins and getting out of their comfort zone so that they can have the best of both, because we think we have to have either or, and you can have both.
Yes. And so I want to ask, okay, so now you're doing the business, you're stay-at-home mom, and you're like me. I find joy in helping, you know, other moms be able to not only feel better, you know, just by using the product, but also the ones that do decide to make this an income, or, you know, to help them and help them get that car bonus. Like, do you have one story that you can think of, one mom in particular, not saying her name, that is like, this is why I do this. Like one person that you have impacted their lives with these 3 steps that you're like, this is why I do this. I know there's a lot, but like for me, I have one where a couple of weeks before she hit her auto bonus, she was on the side of the road stuck with her 2 babies in the car, and her car wasn't working. And a couple of weeks later, she hit auto bonus and was able to go out and get a 2020 vehicle, because we get that auto bonus, that second rank of the company is the auto bonus. So is there one story, and it doesn't have to be business related, that really hits you to that is your favorite?
Yes. So this one's actually a customer story, one that comes to my mind. Um, she was, I just seen her discomfort level. I just could like see in her face, like she was exhausted, she was tired, she was running on fumes, and she tried so many things. And I was seeing her daily, I was seeing her every single day, and I was like, take this, like, did you look at it, did you take it, no, did you take? And she was literally like the one person that I was like, literally, you're taking this. And I was like, I promise you, I'm like, just look at it, show whoever you need to show, just take it. She didn't take it, she didn't take it. So finally, I literally was like at her house, I put it in front of her coffee machine, I was like, take this, please, like, please. Like, you don't know if it's gonna, I don't know if it's gonna work for you, I don't know if you're gonna feel it right away. She did it. It's like night and day. People, she was like, I thought it was all in my head, but she couldn't go without it. And the person that she was then to the person that she is now, just physically, she looks amazing. I remember her calling me and saying, I went outside and I pulled weeds in my garden. She's like, I love to garden, and I haven't had the energy to go outside and do it. Um, so on a customer level, it's that one. And honestly, on a business side, it's my upline, because I just feel like she's the perfect story, as you can just come as you are and still crush it in this business. And I remember she got her new car. She traded in her car, or she got her new updated car. And I was like, why aren't you posting about it? That's huge. And she said to me, she said, I don't want to post about it by myself. It doesn't mean anything to me having this car by myself. She's like, you guys need to get your car, and then I'll post about it. And I was like, whoa, that's this business I'm in. That's my mission. Like, I want people to know that they could have this too, not just the people at the top.
Yes. That was me. I had the hardest time in the beginning celebrating my wins. A lot of the times I would be like, I don't want to brag about it. We hit a goal, but I don't want to brag about it. And Tommy would always be pushing me like, post about it. You should be happy. You should, and little by little, I got more comfortable with sharing. And I realized that when I post my wins, you just never know who's watching, that I may inspire to, who's that mom who's sad and who's miserable inside, and she just wants more for herself, or that person who's struggling and just needs like one opportunity to change their life. So I totally get that. All right, so I guess we've been on here a long time, and I don't want to keep you too long, but I loved your story. I didn't know all of that about you. You would never ever like guess like all of that. And it's so funny because a lot of the times we think we don't have like a big story or a powerful story, but everyone has a story, and everybody's story is powerful, because I would have never known that about you. And I'm so glad that I asked for you to hop on here with me today, because I just didn't know that about you. So let me ask you last question, closing out. Like, what would you say to someone who is the old you? What would you say to the Brenda who followed the roadmap, who did everything perfectly? What would you say to your old self?
As harsh as this may sound, I would just tell her to get over it faster. Get over your pride. Get over your pity me, pity me. I'll never forget. I was watching Jada on Red Table Talk, and she was like, the pity me person, the victim, is actually super egotistical. And when I was going through this whole thing, like why can I just be happy? Like, why am I, I was going, why? And I listened and I heard that and I was like, I'm egotistical? And I was so offended. And I was like, girl, I gotta get out of this. You so you just have to get out of it and ask yourself like where will you be in 5 years if you just stay where you are? Probably where you are. So just get over it now. Get over yourself and just do it.
Thank you. No, I had to mute. The baby was crying. Um, well, thank you so much, Brenda. Your story is amazing. You are amazing. You're an amazing friend. I love watching you and Bethany grow. I cannot wait until we can get on a lifestyle getaway together and just celebrate all the things that we had, all of our wins, all of our big wins, all of our small wins. Since the last time I saw you, I haven't seen you since we went to Florida, which was probably like the first time that we've ever met was in Florida. But so much has happened for us since then, and we've both grown so much, from the cars, from the ranks, just personal development, everything. And so I cannot wait until we can finally be in a tropical place together, having margaritas or sipping on something cold and just celebrating together. I'm so excited for our future, and thank you so much for doing this with me.
Welcome. Thanks for asking me.
And I know there's comments. I did this through Zoom so that we wouldn't have it all breaking up and everything like that. So if there are comments, me and Brenda will get to those comments. And thank you everyone who has watched. I've enjoyed Brenda's story. I hope that you guys watch all the way through because her story is amazing. And I hope that everybody has a happy Payday Tuesday. Bye.